Hello team, how's it going? Welcome to today's video, and we have some good news within the British Army. It really looks like we are moving forward with the Ajax variant sort of family of vehicles. This has been going on for years, I mean a decade or two. When I transferred to the Household Cavalry Regiment, it was all the talk. They were like, we're getting this new vehicle, and that was back in 2017. Moved to Bulford in 2019 for this vehicle. There's meant to be a squadron's worth of vehicles there for us to test and trial, but they just weren't there. And by the time I left, there was a few vehicles, maybe a bit more, that had just been delivered to the unit, because the Household Cavalry Regiment were the first unit within the British Army to receive these vehicles, work on them, trial on them, and train on them. So it took a very long time. There was a lot of delays. And that was just drop one, because there's going to be 4 drops. Drop one is literally just a trial vehicle to see what works, what doesn't, what they need to add to it. We're now in 2024, it's 5 years on. We know that they've been training on them. They did the cold weather trials in Sweden. And now it looks like, I've just seen a video where we're moving even further forward, where we're looking at drop 3, which is the operational drop. So you got drop 1, which is the trial vehicles, for them to train on trial, see what needs, improvements, what works, what doesn't. Drop 2 was more for sort of general dynamics, I believe, to add sort of parts on, see what works, what doesn't, but they were never going to be delivered to the British Army. And then drop 3 is the operational drop, and then drop 4 is a more heightened, more lethal drop, I believe. There's 6 vehicles in it, which is the starting one is the main, which is the Ajax vehicle, which is for reconnaissance, so deep recce strike. And then you've got the artillery fire support teams who currently use Warrior, so they're going to be moving over to the Ajax as well. You've got the Ares, which is sort of your support vehicle, sort of for specialist troops such as anti-tank and snipers. You've got Athena, which is the command and control vehicle, so your squadron corporal major, battery sergeant major, your sergeant majors will be working out of them. That's for the armoured cavalry, engineer and artillery units. Apollo and Argus, I hope I've pronounced that right, is for the engineers, and Atlas, I believe, is the recce recovery vehicle to recover casualty vehicles. So that's your recce mechs. These vehicles, like, bearing in mind coming from the CVRT, which is what Armoured Recce have been using, is a million times better. So many like years like ahead of what the CVRT is. You've got let's have a look. You've got a case telescope 40mm cannon, CT40 cannon, and you can also have a coaxially mounted 7.62 L94 chain gun with a dual axis stabilized 2-man turret. So the gun is stabilized, which means you can fire on the move, which, like, main battle tanks can do, the Charlie do. The CVRT, unless you were doing emergency fire, you had to stop to take your shot, just because you were not hitting the target if you was on the move. So you've also got the capability as well to mount a 7.62 general purpose machine gun, so the GPMG, a 12.7mm heavy machine gun, so the HMG, and the 40mm grenade machine gun, which is the GMG, which you can mount to things like the Jackal and other sort of vehicle variants. So, like, let's watch this vehicle. It's a million times better. Let's see where we're at. It's looking like really good news, and some great news for people that look and join the army. I've done a bit of bad news on the military with recruitment and retraining, but this could be something that really could get recruits in. It's a very exciting vehicle, fully digitized. You can go across any terrain in it. It's massive. It's wider than a Charlie too. Like, it's a brilliant vehicle. Let's have a look. Good bit of music. See what I got to say. Look at the size of this.
So the forward holding area has been established to take the capability Drop 3 vehicles, the operation deployed variant, from production output at Merthyr Tydfil, delivered to the MOD until such time as it can field them to the field army. Whilst they're in the forward holding area, they're being maintained and all the necessary mandatory checks been completed.
So today we're delivering the Ajax and Ares variants of the 6 vehicles. Ajax is the reconnaissance variant, delivering a all-weather day and night intelligence, surveillance, target acquisition and reconnaissance so iStar capability, with a suite of sights and sensors, and also a 40mm stabilised cannon.
There you go, there's a stabilised cannon. That is massive. Like, being able to engage targets on the move is brilliant, because obviously if you're just moving forward and an enemy pops up, you haven't got to stop, slam the brakes on to engage. You can continue with that momentum and engage that target, or as you're withdrawing, you're still able to engage that target. Instead of with a CVRT, get tight, do an emergency fire of 6 rounds into the target, and reload and spend God knows how many hours reloading.
So there are a number of changes to the systems and subsystems on the vehicle, which give us a truly operational capability now. We're enabling the vehicle to be used tactically at night through the local situational awareness system, and we're progressing towards being able to fire on the move, which we recently tested in Sweden during the cold weather trials, so significant steps forward in the capability of the vehicle. In addition to that, we are delivering Ares, which is the specialist troop carrying variant. It delivers troops across the battlefield with its protected environment, and again sensors to make sure those troops deploy to the right part of the battlefield.
Now, the British Army has set aside around £41 billion to spend on modernisation of equipment and support solutions over the next 10 years.
41 billion.
This will enable them to have a more agile and lethal force, competitive for the 21st century. One of the keys to doing this is working really closely with industry and all other stakeholders to make sure we can harness the technologies and innovation that's available today. General Dynamics are delivering 589 vehicles to enable us to deliver the future ground-mounted reconnaissance platform for the British Army.
There you go, 41 billion is being invested in modernising kit and equipment and support. Finally, a good amount of money is going into the British Army to modernise it and make it much better and a much more lethal force. 589 vehicles. Yes, it's not thousands like other nations have, but that is a good amount of vehicles for the British Army. Bearing in mind, we have cut our force down to around 70,000 personnel. That's all ranks, all trades. That's going from your infantry, your engineers, recce, artillery, down to your clerks, you know, your intelligence corps, signals, REME, physical training corps, officers, everything. That is around 70,000. So 589 very high-tech, armoured, lethal vehicles, and that's obviously including the recce and engineer lot as well, going out and being delivered to the British Army over the next few years. And finally, drop 3, this is massive, by the way, because like I said, there's 4 drops. Drop 1 was just a trial and training drop, which the Household Cavalry have been using and trialing on. Drop 2 was just for any sort of enhancements that they think they needed to trial on, but was not being delivered to the British Army, so no soldiers were working on it. This is the operational capability, and they're going into a forward holding area. So this is now them nearly ready to be operational and be deployable on the ground if anything does kick off. Even not just kick off, say a presence like in Estonia, Poland, exercises out there, having those vehicles there, having that presence, having them around, say, look, we have got them now. We have a much better capability when it comes to sort of deep recce, so reconnaissance behind, you know, going deep behind enemy lines or pushing into the enemy, to be able to get eyes onto the target. Like, trust me, I've worked on the CVRT, and you know, it's an all right vehicle, but it was so outdated. It was small. It was hard to get across ground. Yes, it was good for getting into, you know, OPs, getting into woods, camouflaging it and doing OPs. But, you know, trying to get across ground, if you went over a bump that was too big, too hard, more than likely yourself was going to get some broken ribs, or you're going to knock your driver out, and you're going to be in serious pain. You didn't have the capability of firing on the move, and all the sort of old systems, night vision, I can't remember what the actual system was now, engagement system, were very outdated. Even loading and unloading the CVRT scimitar was a pain in the arse and very outdated. You know, you had to wind it up to cock it, get your hand in to take ammunition out. Yeah, this is digitized. It's got enhanced ammunition, self-loading, stabilized gun with all the iStar capabilities as well. I don't know the ins and outs. I've not actually worked on it because I left the army before I did. But some of the sight systems this is going to have, and acoustic systems, is absolutely insane. I know it's got cameras all around, Trying to drive hatch down in a CVRT was absolutely nails, especially at night. This is going to be a much better capability where you haven't always got to be turret up. You can be safe in your vehicle, hatch down, hatch locked, and be able to carry out your job, you know, in a dangerous area possibly. So exciting news. If you're looking at joining the army and you're unsure what to do, I wasn't the biggest fan of armoured vehicles. I spent a lot of my time before I transferred household cavalry on foot. But it's a great, you know, there's some great units in the Royal Armoured Corps, and this vehicle is going to be really exciting to work on. If you love technology, if you want to go on ops, if you want to go on exercise, and you want to, let's just put it easy, you want to do reconnaissance, sneaky beaky stuff, and possibly shoot shit up, then this could be for you, definitely. Exciting this is that they're finally getting drop free, because like I said, when I was in the household cavalry, it was so slow. There were so many delays, and it really did take its toll on the lads and girls, lads and ladies. But finally, I think, hopefully, fingers crossed, the blokes down in household cavalry and ladies and other units are getting a bit more excited now that they're actually going to have an operational vehicle that they can go out on exercise on, and hopefully, possibly deploy on operations and do their actual job, which would be very exciting. So great news. Head over to the British Army website to find out more.